Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it on a Sunday. Coming off that UFC 329 fight happened last night, and Conor versus Holloway. And yeah, man, Sunday recovery day. I'm doing good, man. I'm good. It was an earlier night. We did go and get some food and a couple more drinks after we were done in here, but I'm good to go. Just spent the day prepping and doing some stuff around the house. Got some time to relax, so not too bad. Hope you guys are doing well and recovering after last night. Dude, before the White House card, people were complaining that McGregor wasn't on it. Yeah, thank God he wasn't, right? Imagine had this bullshit happened at the White House card, that would have been garbage. So yeah, that's good that Conor wasn't on it. But yeah, what a disappointment, man. That main event, fucking disappointing. But that's how shit goes sometimes. Of course, the conspiracy theories are flying. The allegations are flying. Everybody's pissed off. Everybody's in shock and awe, and some people are sad. Some people laughed. There's been shit all over the place, but as far as I'm concerned, it's I kept telling everybody that just 100% believed Conor was going to win without a doubt. I'm like, that's believable if he was going against Chandler. Going against Holloway, you can't just say he wins automatically. So, and on top of all of that, the biggest thing that I kept harping on was he hasn't been in there in 5 years, man. You don't know what you're going to get. And everybody's acting like it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to win. And I thought that was garbage. So, dude, I never told you this, but before the White House card, I was on another stream and I said that the card was good. And then the streamer started yelling at me. Holy shit. Oh, man. That's crazy, bro. People just get too crazy, man. I just rather be chill. You know what I mean? It's like you guys take your time to come out and pay attention to my show and talk to me. Unless you're being a fucking jackass, like there's no need for any of that shit. So, if you disagree with me, that's okay. You've seen me like go back and forth with people when I don't agree, but I don't need to start yelling at you and shit. You know what I mean? I've had people talk mad shit to me on here before, and it's like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't reach through the fucking screen. I'm not going to break my damn monitors either. I'm not going to, punch my camera. I don't got money like that. So I take care of my shit because I care about it. But people are fucking dumb, bro. Don't even listen to them. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was drunk, but what the fuck? Yeah. He was like, the card can't be just good. The UFC should have paid millions to get the biggest names on that card. Listen, sometimes you don't need the fucking biggest names. I at first thought that it was kind of garbage card too, but the more and more I looked into it, the more and more I paid attention, the more and more you kind of get, your bearings and you start realizing what's going on. So, of course you want to have the biggest card possible, but you also want to have performances. And you can go out and get the biggest guys possible. Conor McGregor, the biggest star in the UFC, or was, still is. Everybody's still gonna dick ride Conor, but when it MMA holes, hey, just to be clear, I didn't yell at that guy. Oh shit. I've watched your show before, man. I could understand why people would think you're yelling, but I get it. You're just passionate, bro. It's all good. Had I known it was you, I would have been like, hey man, he might not have been yelling at you. And that's not me glazing anybody. That's just I've watched his show. It's like I get it. But when it comes down to it, man, everybody's allowed to be passionate and have their own opinions. Some people's opinions are just stronger than others, but I try to see it. Oh, I got you. Okay, John. I try to see it from both sides of the both sides of everything, just because I'm not always right, man. I'm not always right, and I don't always claim to be right. There's people on here that have mad knowledge that I'm just like, what the fuck? How do you know this? And I'm like, I thought I was a big fan, and then you got people in here with knowledge, man. And it's either that or they're really good at research. But I only have so much time in my day. I can't do this all day. I have to work, and it sucks. But me working means I get to do the cool shit like this after work. So yeah, if you know more than me, that's okay. And MMA Holes knows his shit. So hey, I wouldn't argue with him. I may not agree with something he might say every once in a while, but I don't give a shit. He can say whatever he wants. It's cool with me. I come on here and say whatever I feel like it too. So that's what's cool about having your own show. And if you got people watching you, then fuck, even better. So I don't have as many people watching me as he's got watching him, but he puts together a good show. So props to you, my man. And I appreciate you jumping in the chat every once in a while, because I know I've seen you here before, and you gave me good words last time. So I appreciate that. But yeah, the whole card was incredible besides the end. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Fucking Conor. You know, the biggest thing is, was he hurt before? Was he, you know, just miss me with the fixed fight bullshit, okay? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. If that's the case and it comes out, it's okay. I don't give a shit. I that just shows that that's a bad look for Conor, and that's a bad look for the UFC if that's the case. But man, I heard people coming up with some crazy fucking theories. But that's the way shit goes now. If it's too good to be true, if it's too crazy to feel real, everyone just thinks it's a goddamn conspiracy and that somebody fixing fights and all this bullshit. And I'm just like, hey, get the fuck out of here, man. You don't need to go down that. But that's the problem, is you can find an echo chamber on the internet that's everyone's gonna believe that same thing, and then you're gonna feel validated, and that's okay. Sometimes we get a little weak-minded and we fall into those, we fall into those spaces where everyone agrees with you and you think you're right, but it's not always the truth, bro. So everybody needs to relax with that shit. It was a channel called, oh, okay, got you. Oh shit, really? I've seen their shit too. Also, imagine yelling at someone because you disagree with them. Well, people get heated. Hey, listen, look at the way MMA Guru carries himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never really seen him yell at people, but he yells in general. So sometimes you just, you get passionate, man. But yeah, when you're going at somebody just because of something they said, flying off the handle for fucking no reason, that's crazy. But some people find it entertaining too. So it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. And if people want to get nuts with you, then hey, as a viewer, you can flip them off, tell them to go fuck themselves, or you could just click away and be on your merry way and let someone else deal with the bullshit. Because sometimes that's just what you got to do. And don't get me wrong, I get pissed off and I'll talk some shit, but I just don't find it necessary for every reason. So yeah, I understand if you were annoyed by that, but yeah, I'm not gonna yell at you on here unless you really piss me off and say some stupid shit that's personally offending to me. And some people get personally offended by some weird shit. But yeah, I'm good. Oh yeah, definitely injured before the fight. He was taking roids and he was taking hard drugs. Perfect combo to weaken your joints. I feel he knew he was hurt. He was practicing that jump kick in the back room then he leads with it heavy. He knew he was hurt. Yeah, but my thing is like, if you knew you were hurt, practicing that shit in the back, I mean, is that the smartest thing to do? Because what if you injure yourself enough to barely be able to walk out? You know what I'm saying? So that's what gets me to wonder if this really did just happen on the walkout, getting out there, or when he was taking his shoe off, when we saw that he wouldn't put his leg down. But then I saw evidence as well, of I did notice that he was messing with his shoes in a weird way when he was at the weigh-ins. And I thought that was kind of strange. But I didn't think anything of it and until I saw that video. But like I said, you can find something that's going to back up what you think on the internet somewhere. You're going to find it. So that's what makes things confusing, but that's what keeps it interesting as well. And that's why we just get on here and talk about the facts and what we know, what we saw, and then you just give your opinion. And if somebody doesn't like your opinion, disagrees with it, hopefully they can make a correct path to get to you understanding their thoughts on the whole thing. And if we just all disagree, well, then fuck. It's not always fun when everybody agrees, so it's all good. I feel he knew he was hurt. He was okay. Good Sunday, Big E. Finally have a chance. Oh yeah, 78 Northwest. Welcome back. Appreciate you for coming back. Looking forward to the 329 review this evening. Right on. Yeah, so I hope you watched the fights, man. But if you didn't, Yeah, the outcome, I'm sure you already know if you were on social media at all, and of course most of our algorithms are catered to MMA. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to not find out what happened, which is why I hate when I have to watch fights later, because then I can't really be on anything. Otherwise, it gets spoiled. Um, and not too many fights are worth going back and watching a lot of times, but I still do it anyway. If you're hurt, you should have tried staying off that leg, but I'm not a pro fighter. I'm happy he showed up, and it's just a letdown. Congratulations to Max for an easy paycheck. Yeah, I don't think Max is happy with that though. But yeah, the paycheck doesn't hurt, that's for sure. I'm sure he would have preferred to fight an actual fight. But when it comes down to it, it is what it is, right, Max? He said, I keep people weak in the knees. That shit was kind of funny because Connor would say some shit like that. But yeah, I don't know that he really enjoyed having the fight go that way. I give Max a lot of props for the simple fact that he said, um, hey, listen, I was trying to tell them, I don't want to beat up on a guy who's can't even stand up. Like, that's not me. That's not my thing. And, he's like, the ref is there to stop the fight when stuff like this happens so people don't get injured. And he basically just told me to keep going. Connor's yelling at him to fight. He said, fight, fight, fight. So, maybe he was doing his best Trump impression. I don't know. But either way, he told him. And so, Max said, hey, listen, I bounced his head off the mat. That's what I had to do. So, yeah. I saw someone saying they should have made Patty and Max fight each other last night since they both took no damage in their fights. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I wish it was that easy. I wish they could sanction a fight like that to happen right away and turn it around. But we they can't let that happen. But that would be awesome. Look at the Macy Barber fight where she basically didn't walk out when she's the main event and she had to not walk out and fight when it was her time to walk out and fight. So sometimes shit like that happens and it sucks. And I'll give Conor his props for still walking out there and whatever the reasoning was, whenever it happened, his coach came out and said, listen, we practiced that over and over and over again. And it just happened on that first jump. Going back to what somebody said earlier, which is, listen, you do too many steroids. And yes, that can weaken your bones. That can, especially when you get off of it because you have to, because you're getting tested and shit like that. But also mixed with the drug use, I don't think it's a secret that Conor has abused drugs in the past. He's been quite he doesn't hide it very well. So and those are just allegations, you know what I mean? But that's just the way it goes. We're all gonna think what we're gonna think, but that's just it's evident sometimes, man, especially if you've done it in the past. And sometimes I know Patty was gonna be I knew Patty was going to beat BSD. I didn't think I ever mentioned this here, but before the fight, I was telling people that BSD wins when his opponent fights dumb. Yeah, and I think I think BSD was the one that fought dumb. Going in for the takedown like he did, that was not the game plan. That was not the move. He definitely should not have done that. He should have kept Patty on the feet a little bit before trying to do something like that. We've all seen what Patty can do on the ground. I wouldn't say he's like a world beater on the ground, but he's fucking good. So why would you do that? You know what I mean? Yeah, no idea why BSD shot like that. Exactly. It was fucking stupid. And that's why he lost that quickly. And he got put to sleep, man. He got put to sleep. So props to Patty on that one. Of course, we're going to dive deep into all this. Wasn't Lopez talking about moving up? Imagine if they Lopez versus Patty. Shit. Yeah, I mean, that could be a good fight. That could be a good fight. But if Conor was looking to get the win so he could fight Patty, but I think Conor's days of fighting the elite guys may not. He might have to fight another elite guy. He's got one more fight on his contract. We'll see what happens. He looked like he was reaching for taking off the gloves in the cage when he was sitting down on the stool, but that might have just been him frustrated, wanting to get the gloves off his hands and stuff like that. Cody Garbrandt also took his gloves off. in the cage, and it looked like he maybe wanted to retire, but they didn't really give him a chance to speak. He walked out with them in his hands, but you know, that's just what happens sometimes. I don't think Conor's gonna retire. He maybe thought of it for a quick second, but I don't think that's gonna be something he's gonna do. He's gonna want to bounce back and come back. But you know, where do the fans lie? Like I said earlier, people are gonna dick ride him anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna take if they haven't given up on him yet due to his inactivity, pulling out of his last fight, the hypocrisy of the things that he does, and then just the legal issues and the allegations and what he's actually been proven to have done. If you're not going to give up on him then and continue to support him, you're not going to give up on him when he gets injured in a fight. You're going to have 1,000 excuses, and you're going to sit here and talk about how it should have been this, it should have been that, it could have been this, it could have been that, and that's fine. That's called fandom. You know, people are a fan of other people, teams, individual players, fighters, organizations, all that good shit. People are fans of different podcasts and MMA content creators. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're going to like who you're going to like, and you're going to ride hard for that person. Pause. But,
hey, no Diddy, man. No Diddy.
But, and that's fine. You can do that and you can be that person. But, I feel like if people haven't given up on Conor yet, this might be a step towards people giving up on him, but I think he's always going to hold a certain aura around him that people are going to feel like he always has the opportunity to come back and get something done. And he's always going to have the opportunity, or it's always going to be possible for him to come back and be a world beater, even though the past few fights we've seen him, it's gone downhill. You know what I mean? So he loses, he gets knocked out, he breaks his leg, and then he's supposed to come back and he gets injured again. And then he waits, years, and then he comes back, and before he can even make it competitive in the cage, he gets hurt and it's over. So, the evidence is there, but what can he do about it? I don't know. He looks so frustrated. I think he'll definitely want to fight. And now there's more hype. They're going to push for a rematch. We'll see, man. We'll see what the UFC wants to do. Because I know Max was like, hey, count me in. I'm down. Rematch. Let's do it. But that payday is a payday. It's a good payday. Max is thinking about that bag. So he's like, hey, I'll fucking rematch him. Let's do it. He didn't have, hey, what's up, Rain? How you doing? He didn't have any problems. Nothing happened to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the only person that got anything done in that fight. Conor did everything to himself, but Max was able to land a couple punches on him because, hey, Conor invited him to. He said, fight, let's do this. So, not a glove on me? Yeah, no shit. I wonder how Dana felt. I didn't watch his post-fight. The post-fight press conference is a waste of fucking time with Dana on this one. I'll tell you that right now. They asked him a bunch of fucking questions about Zuffa boxing. They asked him a bunch of questions about a lot of shit that didn't matter, because anytime they asked him questions about this, that, or the other thing, when it came to Conor, Max, Patty, BSD, he basically said, I don't fucking know about all of it. And he even acknowledged the fact, he said, is there any more fucking questions that I can't answer? And then, of course, you've got all the questions as, what's next for this person? What's next for that person? Like, these fucking media members need to come up with something else, man. It comes to a point where, do you not recognize, he says it all the time, I don't match make the night of the fight. That's for Tuesday, or whatever fucking day he always says. I'm pretty sure he says Tuesday. He doesn't matchmake that night. Sure, he can give an opinion, but people will hold him to that and say, oh, then the rumor mill starts. And everyone's like, oh, in the works, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, he just said that in passing to answer a fucking question. So I get his frustration with that. But the problem is that these fucking media members that are there all the time, always asking the questions, they ran out of shit to ask anymore. Even when they have some brand new shit in their face as to what just happened, they still want to ask the same fucking question and just change the name of the fighters. And it's like, bro, what are we fucking doing? I'm not saying I can come up with better questions. I'm just saying, if you as a career are a journalist and you're there, you have the privilege of being one of the people that are allowed to go in there and ask Dana White questions. Get your fucking shit together and come up with some fucking questions that matter, and stop fucking. And I'm sorry if English is your second language, get a goddamn interpreter, because if you can't format your question in a proper way for Dana to actually understand it and take it seriously, and for it to be a question that someone else hasn't asked, then what are we fucking doing? Like, how can people, how do you expect him not to be frustrated? You know, you can see it in his face, and I hate to point out somebody who had English as their second language. I just use that as an example because there was a couple people in there, you could just tell they did not understand what everybody else was doing. They weren't understanding, they weren't listening, they weren't paying attention to what else was going on in there. They're asking the same fucking questions over and over again. Like, do something different. You know what I mean? All these fucking MMA channels, content creators, that people, podcasts, whatever you want to call them, that talk about this, me included, we all have to talk about the same thing because we talk about what's in the news right now. It's the fights and all this, right? We come up with the questions, we talk to the people in the chat, and we come up with our own perspective on things. Okay, that's fine, because we're not asking Dana White directly. The people who get the privilege to ask Dana White questions in a press conference, and they want to ask the same fucking question over and over again and make a fucking fool of themselves, they shouldn't be allowed to come back there. They should open up the opportunity for somebody who actually wants to fucking be a real journalist and ask a real fucking question. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that I could come up with any better questions, but I'm just saying I wouldn't go out there and ask the same fucking question. But people just get out of their mind because they have the opportunity and they get the floor to talk. They get a mic in their face and they're like, hey, Dana White, what's next for Conor McGregor? Motherfucker, he just asked that. Like, what do you say? Did you not hear what his answer was? Come on, man. Wow, interesting. Yeah, man, rankings change and everything. That sounds like a shit show. Yeah, that's a great point, especially in a press conference. Yep. So yeah, that was my fucking rant on that one, because the press conference was bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Dana gave us nothing. He was annoyed. He was pissed off with good reason. I can understand that main event didn't go the way he planned. You know, record-breaking gate because the tickets are so fucking expensive. Of course it is. So, and then you get an outcome like that. It's like, of course Conor's going to bring eyes to the, you know, to the show. He's going to put asses in seats, of course. But you know, and then for it to wind up like that when everyone's there to see him, all the celebrities, all of that. And then Dana's actually you know, lashing out at his own employees because they can't seem to get it correct when they flash a celebrity on the screen. And that's why, if you noticed, they stopped flashing names on the screen with the lower thirds, which, like mine, you know, lower thirds, it says Big E, host, podcaster. You know, they're putting up people's names on the fly, which isn't easy, right? But the thing is if a cameraman's out there, he sets up before anybody like clearly goes to him. Okay, so he sets up out there. If the motherfucker doesn't know who he's looking at, why is he looking at him? If he knows who he's looking at, they have communication to the fucking truck who's putting these lower thirds out there, which is probably why Dana White's pissed off about it. Because if you're looking at Mauricio Hufi and you call him fucking BSD, what are we fucking doing? And of course, we're talking about football players and basketball players and shit like this that we can't seem to get names correct on, but they also are getting boxers' names incorrect when they are in the business of boxing as well. So what the fuck is happening? And that's one of the things that Dana White got pissed off about and talked some shit about. So and he lashed out saying we're the fucking worst in the world when it comes to this shit. He's like, we need to stop showing celebrities because we can't ever seem to get it right. And that's a damn shame because they have so many people working, and I get it, it's not always easy, but to do it that many times, that often, over and over and over again, is just embarrassing. So yeah, sorry, man. I just got on a fucking rant for whatever reason, but I understand his frustration with that, and I think it's fucking kind of it's just embarrassing, man. And then the questions from the media members, but hey, Dana White and the UFC handpick people to fucking come in there and ask questions, and sometimes they get some dumbasses. They don't allow certain people in there like Ariel Helwani and stuff like that because they don't want the hard-hitting questions that they might get called out for and made to look stupid because they actually have good questions. So it's also on them. So he can't really get too mad when he's the one that puts himself in that position as well. I forgot about that part. I don't know why, but figured I'd mention that too, because it's not all just the media members in that case. So before I go any further and actually get into talking about these fights, now that I've been ranting, let me give a shout out to my sponsor, of course, Noctane Smelling Salts. As you saw last night in the watch party, by the way, was fun. I appreciate everybody who came in and interacted with the watch party. We had a good time in here. As we know, we had some technical difficulties. I thought it was going to be a lot of the same again tonight. Let's keep our fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. But we got interrupted before the actual fight started, and I'm happy that the fights didn't start before we were able to get everything back up and running. The camera wouldn't turn on. That shit was annoying, but I got it. And so thank you to everybody who showed up, supported, and stuck around and interacted with us. Like Xavier, you were there the whole time, man. A lot of other people that were there. It's good to see you all and make sure that that, you know, the channel got some love, and we had the watch party be fun and exciting. So thanks for that. But thanks to Noctane for the sponsorship as well. This is the red cap, the most potent bottle. Let's take a nice little whiff of this real quick before we keep going. Oh, I think I got the dead one. Yes, I did, because that would have hit me real quick. Like, I'll get to you in just a second. Rain, let me take a sniff of this real quick. Oh, oh, there it is. Ooh, that was rough. Eyes watering, but that is the most potent bottle, and it keeps you awake and alert. And I look stupid doing it sometimes. I understand that. But it is my sponsor, and I do like using the product. I use it all the time, to be honest with you. And it does get you awake and alert, and there's a lot of other uses for it. Scan that QR code to learn more. Go to their website. It's a nice one to look at, and it's informative. There's a link in the description below, as always. And thanks to Noctane for the sponsorship. Appreciate it. Rain says, our attention spans are so short, we're flipping on fighters based on last performance. For instance, Lonnie was everyone's pick after Moreno, but now it will be Royval. Yeah. So, you know, I understand that too. And the fans are fickle, bro. That, like, everyone is. So I don't think that's ever going to change. But I do think the attention span is ridiculous. And, you know, that's why I always say, listen, I don't care for this guy very much, but I respect his skills and what he's done in the sport up to this point. But I'm rooting against him. That's all there is to it, really. To be fair, Loner was doing good. Yeah. I appreciate it, man. You guys were fucking hilarious. I hope you guys get to do it again soon. You're a blessed man to have some friends like that around you. I definitely am, man. I appreciate the hell out of my friends. And I'm happy that I've had friends for so long. Every single one of them in this room with me last night has been my friend for at least 10 years, if not longer. So it's awesome. Max was, man, after Justin, then Charles dominates him, and people think Conor has a chance. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. But that's, you know, that's sports for you. It's the same way in football, baseball, hockey, all that shit, basketball. You know, people are just dickheads, bro. That's just how it goes. And I try not to be that way, but at the same time, you get passionate about what you like and what you support and all that shit. So I get it. As at the same time, it's fucking human nature, but it is annoying. There's no good method to all this. It's just chaos, and with the internet it gets even crazier. So but I'm thankful for the internet, because that's how I'm able to do this too. So in the end, we just kind of have to deal with it, roll with the punches, and figure out the best way to, you know, navigate all of it. So yeah. All right, let's get into what we're here for, and let's talk about these fights at UFC 329. As we know already, Holloway and McGregor was the main event, and we didn't get much out of that. And we've talked about it a little bit already, but, you know, with the hype, with the lead up, the build up, and all of the opinions on where we were at with everything, you know, obviously Max coming in on a losing streak because he, you know, he had lost to Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria, you know, stuff like that. I don't think he lost to him back-to-back, but no, he didn't. But, you know, still having lost to Ilia for the first time, getting knocked out for Max, and then, you know, losing his BMF title to Charles Oliveira the way that he did, everyone was thinking, for some fucking reason, I would have bet a lot of money on the fact that Conor was not going to come out and wrestle, okay? And not going to come out and grapple right away. Maybe when his striking wasn't working and he wasn't as sharp and precise as he's used to being, I would have said, yeah, he's going to change it up and try to do something else, because that's kind of what he did in the first fight with Max. But he also tore his ACL in that first fight. But he was younger and was able to fight through it. This time, not so lucky. 38 years old about to be, and you know, that's what happens when you get older. You don't take care of your, like, you can look like a phenomenal athlete, but when you're, you know, redlining your body with alcohol and drugs, and don't get me wrong, I'm not your picture of health at all, but I'm just stating a fact. When you redline your body like that, on top of the performances that you have to put out, the aggressive training style and stuff like that you have to do in order to be an MMA fighter, all that together is going to wear and tear on your body, and it's going to wear you down so far that next thing you know, you're not able to do what you were able to do in the past. You become a shell of yourself, and it's a damn shame to see that happen. And we see that happen with some of our favorite fighters after, you know, getting knocked out once. Like that could have happened to Max. He got knocked out. He could have came back and continued to get knocked out and never recover from just his chin not holding up. But he didn't. He was able to come back and win a fight in between there, but then he lost to Oliveira, and that's just how that goes. That wasn't his fight. He's definitely not the strongest, you know, wrestler, grappler type. We've never really known him to be. But you know, that in between all that, in between the losses, he beat Dustin Poirier, one of the best, even though it was nearing the end for Poirier, or that was Poirier's last fight, right? But either way, Poirier's still a dog. So absolutely 100. My grandma always told me you can't burn a candle at both ends. Yeah, and that's what that means. You know what I'm saying? So that's old school mentality, but it rings true a lot of different ways, and a lot of and you know, it doesn't hardly ever fail. You can only do it for so long if you're able to do it at all. So yeah, that's what's tough, and that's where McGregor found himself, was up against the wall. 5 years out of the cage, there's going to be ring rust, regardless of what Dominic Cruz believes, because he's a different breed. But you know, he was never really back to his normal self after being out for a long time. He was able to put some great performances out there, but not every single one of them was great. So yeah, time catches up to you, man, and you're not going to be that same fighter. And that's what happened to Conor, I believe. And that's why when everyone kept telling me it's a foregone conclusion that McGregor's going to win, how could he possibly be the underdog? Well, when you're out for 5 years, you're dealing with all these injuries. You're dealing with all this outside shit, so your mental's not great. And then, you know, because all of a sudden you find God, and you want to become the family man you should have been the whole time, doesn't mean it's going to change anything for what you've already done to your body and your mind. And the fact that you've been out as long as you have been, there's no tune-up fights in the UFC, really. You don't get that shit, especially when you're getting paid millions upon millions, and the highest paid fighter for one fight, and your contract's coming to an end. You're not going to get an easy fight, and Max wasn't supposed to be an easy fight, and it was the worst case scenario for Conor. I think it would have been better for him to get knocked out. I think it would have been better for him to get submitted and at least have shown some promise in his performance. But instead, you know, we got nothing. We got nothing but some, you know, limping around and giving out of knees and just looking old and kind of washed, unfortunately. Whether he truly is washed or not, I don't know. But can his body even hold up long enough to allow for him to prove it otherwise? Because fighting at the highest level in the most established organization with the biggest prospects and biggest biggest competition you can get, you can't just come in and get whoever and still get paid the big bag you get paid every time. So unless he's willing to take less money and really do it for the passion of the sport, because supposedly he's got enough money to stop fighting already. Has he been good with that money? I don't know. He's, you know, said himself he was reckless with his money. So is that something that's going to hold him back from just getting out of the game before he becomes that guy who just can't ever win. And Tony Ferguson, to say the least. I hate to bring him into this, but you know, it's kind of true. We saw how Chuck Liddell went out, getting knocked out left and right. There's been plenty of fighters like that. So I would hate to see McGregor become that guy, but you know, if his body can't hold up, then he should just give it up. But you know, he wants to get out of that contract if he's not going to be able to compete in the UFC the way he used to, and they're not going to want to give him the fights that they should give him and pay him the money that he believes he deserves. He's going to want to get out of that contract and be able to go make money somewhere else, because there is other options, even though there's not many. For somebody like him, there's a lot of options because he's such a superstar and he will bring eyes to whatever promotion he goes to. But for him, bare knuckle boxing is probably not a good idea if he believes he can do that, considering he's been all about BKFC. You know, he owns stake in the company, he's been a promoter for it basically, and he's talked about going over there and fighting for BKFC, and I don't know that that's a great idea if his body can't hold up. But you know, maybe it's better. He doesn't have to worry about takedowns, he doesn't have to worry about kicks, but his kicks are part of his attributes that he's known for. So is that a thing? Will he do that? I don't know. Will he want to just go to boxing, straight up boxing, traditional boxing, leg, toe, knee, time to go back and run BKFC, not fight a Creed? Yeah, man, it's too much. His lower body's not handling things great, and the rest of his body's gonna follow soon, because he can't even get in there for a full fight, and it's pretty evident. But he has shown and proved that he also can bring people in by the promotion he provides for something like BKFC. So is that the path he goes down, or does he have something to prove still? I don't know. It's a sad ending regardless if he ends it now or if he continues to go and you know, gets forced out. It's a sad ending. The only way he can turn it around is if this was all a fluke and bad luck, which is a slight possibility, but I don't think so. So it's tough, man. It's fucking tough. But let's get into these recapping these main card fights, and we'll start with the bottom from the first fight of the night on the main card. And this one looked rough for King Green initially. Bobby Green, man, I hate the King Green thing. It's just annoying to say King Green, like Bobby Green, man. It's just, I get it. You know, just keep your nickname as King, that you don't have to have your whole name as, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? Green, he gets his custom shorts, and it's not looking good for him in the beginning. Terrence McKinney bloodies him up early and gets him, you know, gets him fighting on the defensive, and really gets him out of sorts in the beginning of the first. But King Green, I mean, listen, he's a dog, and he comes back, and he can take the damage. But he was in a lot of bad situations. He was in a lot of predicaments that could have ended the fight, but instead he was able to, you know, recover from all the dominant positions that Terrence McKinney had him in, and he stayed patient. He was the vet that he is, with all the experience that he has, and he was able to, you know, fight everything off that Terrence McKinney was trying to get him in, and he got lucky and was able to stay away from the early knockout that Terrence McKinney seems to get a lot of times. I had parlay 4 KOs, Gable, Whitaker, Max, T-Rex had it 16-1 down the drain. Oh man, that's rough, especially when everything else hit, and then fucking McKinney. I was going with Green the whole way just because I chalked it up to experience. I was going with the OG. You know, he got his custom shorts. He was happy. He showed gratitude for it, and I felt like it was gonna pump him up. And you know, he was already had the animosity behind him, and I was hoping that he wouldn't fight emotional because of the fact that he was pissed off that Terrence even took the fight or asked for the fight. So yeah, I was rolling with King Green the whole time, and yeah, I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off, especially with the way the beginning of the round went, and we got it all the way down to the end. You just need one wrong pick. Yeah, parlays are tough, man, but that's where you can win the money. So it's tough not to do parlays. For me, single bets, they don't feel like it's worth it unless I'm willing to pay like what Ray was doing in here last night, $100 here, $200 there, and winning big money when he wins. But I'm not a big bettor as it is. So I'll make my picks, but I'm not gonna bet a whole lot. So because I always lose my parlays by one, and it sucks. I have not gotten lucky. But yeah, he was able, King Green was able to change the momentum. He dug his toes into that gut, and was able to, get McKinney off guard, and he noticed that the body shots were working. So he finally caught him with a liver shot, and dropped McKinney towards the end of the first round, and he was able to lock up that win in the last second of the first round, which was absolutely insane. The fact that, there was a lot of people saying that it probably could have been left to go to the second round, but would McKinney have actually, would he have actually been able to recover? Or, I feel like he kind of gassed himself out a little bit, and that's why, he left himself open to get caught, because he tried so hard to get that fight finished, and Green was just not allowing it. So for him to even survive, as long as he did, and make it as close as he made it, regardless of what you might think and the arguments about it, the ref called the fight, and King Green gets the win in the last second of the first round. So he gets a TKO, and yeah, of course, everyone, debating about the stoppage, whether it was, whether it was necessary, whether it was a stoppage after the bell. It is what it is, because the damage was done, and McKinney took the liver shot and said, "Hey, listen, he caught me with the liver. That's all there is to it." And it just happened to be lucky enough for him that there was still enough time for him to get that win. It was close, but that's what happened. So next up, we had Brandon Royval versus Lonnie Kavanaugh, and I was a little concerned because Kavanaugh's so good. He's 10-1 coming into this one. He's an explosive fighter. He definitely has shown a lot of promise, and it's not like it's over for him. He's lost once before, and that was to Charles Johnson. He got TKO'd in the second round. He comes back and beats a former champion in Brandon Moreno, and a lot of people are high on him. But Brandon Royval has also fought a lot of big names, and he's been able to put together some decent wins. I mean, he's 8-5 in the UFC, which, still more wins than losses, but not by much. But he has a lot of bonuses under his name, under all these events. He's fought so many big names. He's lost to Moreno, he's beat Moreno, he's lost to Pantoja a couple times. He lost to Joshua Van, Manel Kopp, but they're all the highest level guys. Lonnie Kavanaugh has only had a few fights in the UFC. This was his 5th fight. So coming into this, he only had 4 fights in the UFC, and one of those was a loss, and it wasn't even his highest level opponent, I don't think. Definitely not, because he fought Brandon Moreno. So Charles Johnson, he's good in his own right, but Moreno being a former champion and stuff, and I don't feel like he's totally washed yet. So for Lonnie to have beaten him puts a lot of thought in people's heads that he would be able to beat somebody like Royval. But Royval just said, "No, I don't think so. I've been here, I've done this, and I beat Moreno too. So let me go ahead and get out here and get this dub." And he did. And Kavanaugh had him in some trouble. A lot of the opening round. I mean, Royval kind of controlled the beginning of the round with some wrestling and putting the pressure on, but Kavanaugh came back in the second, and he rocked Royval with a huge right hand. He almost finished him on the ground, and then Royval was able to come back, and he leaned on his grappling. He busted open some cuts on the face of Kavanaugh, and then he forced him to tap out with the rear naked choke in the 3rd round. So Royval was able to get the win over Kavanaugh. It was a back and forth fight. It was exciting, and they got the fight of the night bonus for it. So it was a good fight, and it was interesting, and it was the first fight to go to decision after a bunch of KOs in the leading up to the main event, or main card. So, you know, they get the performance, I mean, the fight of the night bonus for the first decision after a bunch of KOs, but you know, it was a fun fight. So big props to Brandon Royval for getting in there, showing his experience and his veteran status, and using that to his advantage, and taking the win from Kavanaugh, even though Kavanaugh looked pretty promising in that second round. And then Royval just, you know, stuck with it, turned it around, and he did his job. So that was good on him. And Royval got the win in the third round. Did I just say, I'm stupid? He got the win by submission. Why was I saying? It's because I'm looking. I did this all night. I kept mixing up Bautista and Royval. He gets the fight of the night. They almost went the distance, but he got the submission. So I don't know what the fuck I was saying. I'm sorry. I got wrapped up because I was looking at the next one, and I got them mixed up. Royval and Bautista don't look the same at all, except for the fact that they're both a little brown. So am I. But for some reason, I keep getting them mixed up because they fought back to back, and my bad. I misspoke. But the first decision came on this next fight, and that was Mario Bautista versus Corey Sandhagen. And I was sure that Sandhagen would be able to get this win, especially because he beat Bautista in the past. Not saying that that's the only reason why I thought he would get the win, but I just think Corey Sandhagen is one of those guys that unless he's fighting the elite of the elite, he usually does fairly well, and he usually comes out on top, and he has great performances. But you know, we've seen him lose in the past before, and usually it's to higher level competition. But Bautista just showed and proved that he was there. Sandhagen's a dog for even fighting with his knee injured. Yeah, and that's the thing. He got the injury as well. But that was, you know, Bautista really putting in the work to, you know, make that kind of shit happen as well. It was a high level fight, you know what I mean? Like between the two of them, they both had crazy how things come full circle. 5 years ago, Sandhagen injured Dillashaw's knee with a heel hook. Yep. And then he did it to Figueiredo too, remember? He hit him with that what was it? Whatever that 50-50 thing was, I'm not sure. Tried like Olberg. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was a warrior. I mean, look at McGregor, couldn't do it. And everyone thought that McGregor was the, you know, the most I don't even know how to say that, but anyway, McGregor wasn't able to do it, but hey, Sandhagen did it. He tried his best. You know, Bautista, he came with the you know, heavy body kicks. He was aggressive with the grappling attacks, and he nearly finished Sandhagen with that knee bar. Messed up his knee, compromised him, and then Sandhagen tried Mohawk Mac. What's up, Junior? Yeah, so Sandhagen came back, you know, in the second, he, you know, opened up a cut on Bautista, made it a competitive fight, but Bautista just was able to win the final round with some timely takedowns. He dominated and controlled on the mat, and all three judges gave it 29-28 to Bautista, and that kind of gives him one of the biggest wins of his career. So yeah, that was a tough one for Sandhagen, especially with the injury and stuff. And you know, that kind of stuff sometimes is used as an excuse. He tried his best. He actually sat in there and tried to fight the fight, even with the injury. So I give him all the props in the world. And the injury was a problem. Who knows how he would have been able to fight without that injury? But Bautista really caused it. So you can't really take too much away from Bautista with that. And you know, he capitalized on what he saw was the issue, and he kept things rolling, stayed aggressive, and continued to attack. So he did the right thing, and it earned him the win. Bautista got smoothed out of nowhere. He's always been good, but he's been on a roll. Also started when Mario hopped over Ricky Simone's leg kick. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Bautista, I mean, I doubt him all the time. He just doesn't seem like one of those guys to me. And then he beat Lockdog like he did, and subbed him in that last fight. You know, he lost to Umar, which is tough, but he beat the living shit out of Patchy Mix, and he beat Aldo, even though a lot of people, you know, thought that he didn't win that one. But yeah, he's got a lot of good fights under him, and he's only got one loss in the past 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 fights, and he's only got one loss in there. So he's on a 2-fight win streak now, because that loss was 2 fights ago for him. But he did get a performance bonus in that win with that submission win over Lockdog. So yeah, it was a good showing for Bautista, and it's only up from here if he keeps doing what he's been doing, being able to take out Sandhagen like he did. Even though he didn't get a finish, he's still pretty much locked in that win by injuring Sandhagen and putting the pressure on him. But will they make O'Malley versus Mario even though they're teammates? I really like the head bobbing into the takedown in the first was smooth. Yeah, he's got a real herky-jerky kind of rhythm to him, but it works for him. O'Malley versus Mario, shit, I don't know, man. I think they kind of would have to at some point. I mean, they're teammates, but does it, it's not like Merab and Aljo. I don't think they're like that. So would Sean take it? I mean, I don't know. I think it would be a good fight though, for sure, Rain. Do you think Bautista would beat Talbot? I think so. I think Peyton Talbot, unless he drastically changes something and turns things around in a big way. They're down here there in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. Unless Talbot really turns things around and is able to start, dominating like he was before losing, I'm not so sure like what we would get from him that would be able to take out somebody like Bautista, who's on a run that he's on right now. So yeah, I think Bautista would win for sure. That brings us over to the co-main event, and that was Paddy the Baddy with the quick win over BSD. And as we talked about earlier, to be fair, Talbot has improved his grappling a lot. Yeah, but I mean, against an aggressive grappler like Bautista, who was able to take advantage of Sandhagen, who has pretty good he's got pretty good balance. He's flexible, he's able to get out of a lot of situations, but Bautista put that pressure on him and was able to get him in a compromising position and really fucking hurt him. So while Sandhagen showed some good mental strength and being able to stay in there and still fight the fight, it happened. You know what I mean? So I think Talbot, you can't get great overnight when it comes to wrestling and grappling, and I think he still has a ways to go, and I'm not sure he's really been fully tested on that yet, and I think Bautista would definitely take advantage of him. So I'm glad Talbot has improved, but I'm not sure if that's enough right now. That was a 6-sub Darce necktie hybrid. Yeah, Paddy really gets those subs in, man, and he finds a way to really tighten it up when he's not able to lock in the traditional way. He'll maneuver his way into a dominant position and get it locked in. I should have known BSD would pull some BS like this. He's become way too predictable, throwing the damn techniques, body kick to takedown. I don't know what he was thinking, man. It was actually a fucking stupid ass idea, especially with Paddy and the fact that he's dangerous on the ground. Whether you think of him that way or not, I think he's proven at this point that he's dangerous on the ground. And I think that he just continues to prove what he can do down there. And it may be unconventional, but he gets the job done. Peyton Talbot has pretty good wrestling. It's just that Haney made people think he had no wrestling. Pretty sure he had state champ in Colorado. Really? All I ever heard, I don't know that Barcelos would be the guy to be able to make everybody think that. That's just all I heard from a lot of different analysts and stuff, was that Talbot just needed to work on that wrestling and grappling. So a lot of times you can be an Olympic champion, you can be a fucking state champion, you can do this and do that, but when it comes to MMA, it's a whole different story. The wrestling and grappling for MMA is way different than it is on its own. So just I don't want to take anybody's accolades away from them, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee you that you're going to be the best in MMA when it comes to the wrestling and grappling that's needed for the sport. But that's just my opinion. Paddy flexibility, I think, helps him a ton, for sure. BSD opens all his fights with a body or head kick into a takedown, very predictable. Yeah, and he definitely needs to change that shit up, because Paddy was ready for that shit, and somebody that thinks on their feet like he does, definitely able to take control and get rid of get rid of Benoit Saint Denis quickly. So yeah, the pressure early. I mean, I just don't know why. I just don't know why he didn't try to take a different approach to this. I think he needed to fill it out a little more. Instead, he just rushed in, and that was just a stupid ass mistake on his part. But I'm not taking anything away from Paddy, because he was smart enough to read that movement and figure out what BSD was doing, and he took advantage of an opening, and and he got the decisive win. He put his ass to sleep. There was no doubt about it. My issue with Talbot is his striking defense. He holds his hands too low for my liking and doesn't move his head. Yeah, I mean, that works for some people. Look at Bobby Green. Look at there's a lot of guys out there that hold their hands low and do fine with it. But it's just Talbot, I feel like as soon as he started getting opponents that were a little higher level, it just didn't, he's just got work. He's just got work to do. I feel a sniper or a power puncher will chin him. Yeah, 100%. I don't think that he's bad. I don't think he's a bad fighter. I just think that he needs more work. He came out hot, and sometimes that cools off, and when you hit that higher level of competition, that I wouldn't say he got to super high level competition, obviously, but he definitely ran into a wall and he wasn't able to get over it. So I saw Royval at airport today. He was in a walking boot. I told him he had a master class, and he smiled and thanked me. I didn't tell him he cost me money. Oh shit, that's crazy. Well, that's awesome that you didn't make him feel bad for that, because I kind of feel like a lot of the problem with the fans these days is that it's so easy to bet, so everyone's betting money, and instead of rooting for the guys that they like and believe in, they root for the guys that they're putting money on, and they're only doing it to win that money. And that's fine. I don't blame you. Betting is betting. It's out there, but I feel like it's done a number on the sport and the fandom, because these guys have so much more shit to deal with because of how easy it is to bet now, and how easy it is for people to put money on you and then blame you when they lose. It's like, well, this motherfucker also lost half his paycheck, which is way more than what you bet, I guarantee it. So he's going to be way more pissed off than you are, and you might not want to fucking face that guy when he's mad about the fact that he didn't get both his paychecks, and you're bitching about a $20 bet because he cost you money. Like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking to you, Rain. I'm just saying in general, like with the fans that do that shit, it's crazy. So I respect you for keeping that to yourself when you met him, and giving him his props. So good for you on that one. Talbot ain't slick like a Bobby Green or Wonder Boy. It's other than that. He's intentionally keeping hands down low, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's definitely something. If it's not working for him, he needs to work on figuring that out and fixing it, because like you said, the person that's slick with the striking is gonna chin his ass, and it's gonna continue to happen until he decides to put his fucking hands up. So that big dot in the center of his chest is gonna become a target, and then people might start seeing that big dot on his chin too, because he doesn't cover it up. So it's not like he's intentional. Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, I figured. What was I saying? Oh yeah. But anyway, Paddy, that the walkout was sick. The walkout was sick. Everybody looks forward to a Paddy Pimblett walkout. I kind of thought he was corny at first. I won't lie, especially with his hair and stuff like that. It was just like, holy shit. But there is something. He's got a charisma about him with the way he speaks. The fact that he gets so heavy in between fights and cuts so much weight is absolutely crazy. And I think that's going to catch up to him one day. And I hope that doesn't become an issue with him. But it seems like he's locked in all the time when it comes down to time to fight. And he definitely looks like a super athlete when well, maybe not super, but he looks pretty damn athletic and ripped up when he's ready to fight, and he's in there, and his cardio's not affected and stuff like that from what we've seen so far. So for me, he could do what he wants, but I just feel like as he's getting older, it's going to take a toll on him, and that's damage to your body that isn't necessary when you're already taking all the damage from the training and the fights themselves. But what the fuck do I know, right? I've been salty about Talbot that he got ranked over Ione. Felt like they were keeping an unk down, but I've been warming up to him. Paddy turned pro at MMA. at 16 or 17, started at bantamweight. Yeah, and I give him props for the fact that he was offered contracts to the UFC or ways to get into the UFC multiple times before he actually decided to sign on. And because of his popularity and his success, and the fact that he turned it down multiple times in order to keep working on his game, I feel like shows and proves how smart he is about his career choices, and the fact that he wasn't in it just for the money. He was in it to to make sure that he keeps the status that he's built on his way up into being a pro, and then on his way up into the highest level of being in the UFC. So for me on that one, I gave him respect on that point right away. So it was good to see that from somebody who doesn't just see the money, and he had belief in himself to continue to win and be successful and get that opportunity further down the road. I still want to see Patty laid out cold. I don't know, something about it pisses me off. I was the same way for a while, man, but there's only so much I can keep doubting people before I have to give in to their skill sets and how good they are. And even though I might not say I like this guy or he's my favorite or anything, I still give props to their skills. But I fully understand you, man. There's a lot of guys out there that I'm like, hey, they're a great fighter, but I would love to see him get knocked the fuck out. So yeah, maybe you are just hating, but it's okay to hate every once in a while. Just, it's a matter of how far you take that hate. And I'll just leave it at a few comments here and there, but I try to look at the skill level and the skill set before I go too crazy with the hatred. But that's just how it goes sometimes. So that leads us to the upsetting, disappointing main event. As we know, I got some pictures here just of the sequence of things that happened. He came out with the flying fucking switch kick bullshit. And for me, I think it's just like, it's kind of the same thing like you're talking about with BSD. Conor always tries to come out with this flashy shit. It just doesn't make sense, especially if people were saying what they were saying about him taking his shoe off in the inspection area, and the fact that he didn't seem to want to put pressure on that leg, whether it happened as he was walking out, happened right before he walked out, sometime after he was warming up, where we saw the video of him warming up in the back looking like there was absolutely nothing wrong. Whatever happened to his fucking knee, it was just a PVG. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome in. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you. But for me, like, whatever happened, if he had any inkling that there was an issue with his knee, why the fuck would he come out and jump, flying switch kick bullshit like that? Now, I understand the conspiracies out there will say, oh, he did that for show so that he had a real reason to blame his knee and show the injury. But I'm just like, why would you try to injure yourself more by doing something stupid like that? Maybe it's overconfidence. Maybe it's just one of those things that he just wasn't thinking about. Maybe he figured his knee was fine, and he's fought through that kind of shit before. But again, why would you go with high level fucking strikes like that? It just doesn't make sense. Craziest thing I learned this fight week is that Damian Pena's had no amateur fights, and his first 4 fights while being a BJJ white belt. Oh, damn. Did you guys see Conor in the inspection area when he was taking his shoes off? Yep. I could tell his knee was hurt. Did you guys see that? Yeah. That's what I was saying. It's like, if that was a thing, why would you come out with this flying fucking attack when you had some kind of thought that there was something going on with your knee? Why would you do that? He just inflicted the shit on himself. That's what fucked me up about it all. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? But it's Conor, man, and maybe he just said, listen, if I'm gonna go all in, I'm gonna go all in. But I feel like he could have had a better run at it had he not started that way, because you could see it in the replay, in the slow-mo. Hey, thanks, Xavier, appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, you could see it in the slow-mo. You could see the way he landed. It was a bad landing. Whether or not that was the exact moment that the injury actually occurred, regardless of what anything else seems like, that still was just a stupid ass way to go out because you want to be flashy. You know what I mean? I heard that it's something about him trying to fight out his contract instead of pulling out and being under contract for another 2 fights. That's definitely a possibility, man. If he knew that he had an injured knee already, There's the video of him in that Newport fucking pain management place. And, he didn't show up as early as everyone else did. So everyone was kind of worried about whether he was going to show up or not. And then his coach talked about it on Ariel Helwani's show about, oh, here we go. Rain saying he showed up to Vegas 2 days late. There's got to be a reason he stayed in Newport Beach. There's a video apparently showing him walking into a pain management center. Now, whether or not that's legit or whether or not maybe he was just getting some kind of random, regular treatment of some sort. You saw the cupping marks on his neck too, right when he was starting the fight. I said it on the watch party. He grabbed at his neck like in a weird way. So it's like you do the cupping, because you're trying to get over like an injury, soreness, pain, whatever. So a lot of times for it to be as pronounced as it was, seemed like he just had that done the night before or earlier that day or something, because those marks were pretty prominent. So, and you saw him grab at his neck in a weird way. And I said it on the podcast. I was like, oh shit, here we go. He's going to blame an injury. If he loses, he's going to blame an injury on his neck or something. Little did I know the fucking knee thing. I watched him take his shoe off and struggle, but I watched him take his shoe off and struggle in the ceremonial weigh-ins too, where he was like doing this weird thing and where he was like tying his shoe or some shit. I'm like, what are we doing? So it was fucking weird. Like his demeanor was weird, everything was weird, and that's why I understand where the conspiracy theories come from. The whole rig thing, fuck all that. If nothing else, he did this to make sure that he got out there and fulfilled one fight off of his contract, like you were saying, Junior, because that is a thing. He had 2 fights left on his contract, and if he pulls out of a fight, they're definitely going to extend that shit. And if he really wants out of it because he doesn't feel like he can continue to compete at this level, or just wants to get out and do something else, there's no way he's going to do that if he doesn't fight out his contract. That's why a lot of people were asking me, like, should Conor retire? Is he going to retire? I'm like, there's no way he retires right now. He's going to at least find a way out of this contract before he retires. Before he retires from the UFC, so that he can go off and do whatever else he wants to do, in case he wants to box, in case he wants to bare knuckle box, in case he wants to go fight in another organization, maybe MVP MMA, even though there hasn't even been talks of a second event. The fact that the first event went off like it did and was a thing, maybe they're still thinking about doing that, and I could see them building a card around Conor as the main event. And they had Nate Diaz over there, so they could try to make the trilogy, the third fight of the trilogy, in MVP MMA. So there's possibilities, and the UFC is going to try their best to keep that from happening, but who knows? He showed up to Vegas his last contract should be against Chandler, which really should have happened last year. 100%. And we heard, still a dream fight for me, but it gets less appealing by the day. God damn, by the day, it's by the year. By the year, it went from 100% of interest to I'm at like a 25% interest in the Chandler fight anymore, with how fucking long that's been. It's insane. But he get yeah, so I don't know, man. If that fight ever happens, it could be a good thing, but when it comes down to it, Chandler doesn't look the best ever either, but he still puts up a decent fight, I guess. If he were to wrestle Conor more than he's wrestled anybody else, which he doesn't seem to be interested in wrestling a lot of people, that might be better for Chandler, especially with how fragile it seems like Conor is these days. But who knows, man? We're just gonna have to wait and see official confirmation as to how long Conor's gonna be out. Does he need surgery? All this other shit, and what they do, because they gave that April 2027 date for a reason, and that's because they figure, if nothing else, they'll wait till that date and really, tie him up for the first quarter at least of next year. I don't know why they didn't schedule it either. Could have been Max versus Hoofy in the White House, then McGregor. Yeah. Weird matchmaking considering both are available. Yep, for sure. But maybe they didn't see a Chandler versus Conor being worthy of just a main event without having a title attached to it. You know what I mean? So maybe being that Max is a former champion, a former BMF champion. Hey, no worries, Antoine. Welcome in. Maybe they just didn't see it worthy as. And then with the amount of time that it took and the fact that that Chandler just hasn't looked great, maybe that's why. I'm not sure. But yeah, as we know, we have all these, there's him grabbing at his knee when he fell down. the look on his face says it all, man. But Holloway, being the badass that he is, you know, he tried to get the ref to stop the fight. He's trying to tell him, and Conor just said, hey, fucking fight, let's go. So, you know, Max said, fuck it, I'll do it. And I'm gonna do what Conor says he does to other people, which is bounce his head off the mat. And with this picture, you can see that that's kind of what he did. He got some good shots in on him, but you know, that's how it goes. And you know, Max tried his best to not have to, you know, inflict any damage on him as much as he could. You know, he knew that his kids were there and he didn't want to have to put him through that. But Conor said, fight, just fucking fight me. And the ref let it go. So it is what it is, in the words of Max Holloway. And he got his licks in. But yeah, Conor made a statement after the fact. He said, my head gasket is gone, destroyed. I had no injuries going into this fight. I was throwing kicks, planted and jumping all throughout camp as well as backstage before the fight. This came out of nowhere. I'm beyond dark here. I can only describe it as hell. I was so sharp and so ready for this fight. I cannot believe what has happened. The talk of me being off while walking into the fight is nonsense. I was calm, ready, and confident. I am in shock that this has taken, or what has taken place. The devil is literally staring at me right in front of my face. Here I'm not engaging. I will be at church tomorrow. I will overcome this. I will not be deterred. I will return. So yeah, crazy. Max Holloway holds no legitimate wins over Charles or Conor. Both ended in the first via injury. It was devastating for him. Like, who saw that coming? Yeah, I know. Church. I never really got your take on Dustin getting taken out of the Bud Light. Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks, but what are you gonna do? You know, yeah, I don't really even know what to say about that at this point. It's just stupid, and I think Bud Light makes some dumbass decisions a lot of times, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, we'll give it the old.
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
So yeah, Conor, you know, he's gonna say this. He's gonna say stuff like this. I mean, it's to be expected, but do you think he bounces back? Who, Conor or Dustin? Bud Light promoted alcohol, yet hate to see the new product of alcohol consumption. I don't think it was the alcohol consumption. I think it was the words that might have deterred them from holding on to him as a, you know, sponsoring him. But he said himself, he lost a lot of money. Oh yeah, 100%. 100% he lost a lot of money, but yeah, I mean, he's gonna bounce back. He'll be fine. I mean, he does so much good. Like, the fact he does so much good with his foundation and all that shit. Like, I don't even know why people would trip on him. It's not like he's been involved. He's not Conor McGregor. He hasn't been involved in this kind of shit a bunch. And yet, you know, the first time he's involved in something. But I get it. You know, people have a problem with people that want to, you know, challenge authority and disrespect authority. And that say words that are unsavory, especially when it's considered racist. So yeah, have you ever almost fought a cop while drunk? No, probably some bouncers, but I don't think I've ever fought a cop. I've yelled at a cop a few times, but I wouldn't say I've tried to fight a cop. He's a cool guy. I'm interested in his prison boxing docu-series he's going to put together. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Dustin's a good dude, man. I think he just had a bad day. And you could say that because he doesn't have a fucking a long laundry list of bullshit that he's been wrapped up and involved in. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for the main event. Let's get to these prelims before we wrap it up. A lot of stuff to talk about here, obviously, with the Conor stuff, but you know, what else are we gonna keep? What else are we gonna say? There's not a whole lot else to go over when it comes to that. The outcome is the outcome, and it's tough, and I think we've talked it to death. So let's move on with Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden, first fight of the night in the early prelims. You know, Costa, Damian Piñas is becoming one of my favorite prospects. Him and Atiba. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're damn impressive, that's for sure. Do you think they rebook it? Conor and Max, I think there's a possibility they do, but it's just I think the UFC is going to try to figure something out with what they want to do with Conor. Max is down for it, but you know, because nothing really happened in this fight, they can't really put a whole lot of stock into what Max could possibly do. But they also can't just give Conor some random fucking fight because they have to pay him so much according to his contract. So glad Acosta choked out the burden Durden. Yeah. Well, he caught him, you know, and a little bit with some of the striking, but then you know, once the fight hit the mat, Costa was able to really, you know, take things into control and locked up that submission in the second round to be able to get the win over Cody Durden in the first fight of the night, and kicking off the night with a submission finish in the second round with the rear naked choke there for Costa. So that puts Costa at this fucking stupid website. I swear. Now Tapology is asking if you want to pay to be ad free. So the ads are going to get worse. So I might have to stop using this website for a while, because now it's locking up, and it's a damn shame. Anyway, we'll move on. Ryan Gondra versus Zach Reese, first decision of the night. And oh no, that was not a decision. I'm reading the wrong shit again. Gondra gets the win. Oh my god, this website is ridiculous. Here we go. Yeah, it's like all of a sudden it gets worse when they try to provide you with a ad-free version. All right, so Gondra moves to 10-1 with his TKO win over Zach Reese with that left hook that finished off Reese, and then he followed it up with some ground strikes. Ryan Gondra moves to 10-1. He's 2-0 in the UFC now with 2 TKO wins, both in the first round. His first fight in the UFC was 41 seconds in the first round against Jose Medina. So Gondra looking good in the UFC so far. You know, he fought in the Contender Series. He got a first round TKO win to make his way into the UFC as well. Wow, not Tabology. Yep. Corporations just love shoving ads in your face. They sure fucking do, especially annoying when it wasn't ad riddled in the first place. Yeah, man, you cannot open Tabology without fucking a bunch of ads that lock up the website, take up CPU on your fucking computer. And now they have this thing at the top that's like it's all fight fans deserve fewer distractions. Browse Tapology without advertising for $2.99 a month. And yeah, you might say $2.99 a month is not bad, but when you're already paying fucking a monthly subscription on all kinds of other shit, and this website was one of the best ones to go to for information, and now because they want to riddle it with fucking ads and people are probably bitching and complaining about it, they're like, oh, let's do this, let's add a subscription, put it behind a paywall, so that way it's either that or you deal with ads. It's like, what the fuck, man? Everything's a subscription. That's for damn sure. So when you start stacking up $3, $4, $5 subscriptions and you have about 20 of them, you're paying a shitload of fucking money. So sometimes I scoff at people that say, oh, I'm not gonna pay I'm not gonna pay a dime for this, and it's like, well, it's only $1.99, bro, chill out. And then I think about it and I'm like, yeah, but we have to pay for fucking everything. It's a goddamn shame. I mean, you're already paying for your internet, and then you have to go on the internet to websites that you have to pay for then. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's the whole Paramount, you know, it was the whole ESPN issue where you got to pay for the subscription just to see the fights, and then you got to pay again to see the bigger fights. It's like, fuck, shit's expensive, bro. Not everybody can fucking afford that shit. But anyway, yeah, Tapology, man, it's a goddamn shame. But Zach Reese drops his fight, drops down to 10-4. Now he's 4-4 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Michel Pereira by split decision back in February. So he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Ryan Gondra looking good against both his opponents in the UFC. I can't afford any additional subscriptions. My banking app told me my groceries are 45% this year. God damn. Was cable ever free? Hell no. It definitely was not. That's why a lot of people didn't have cable. Even these days, you gotta are up 45%. God damn. Yeah, it's fucking everything's expensive, man. It's some bullshit. And then you got stuff like this where you could go to a website and be able to count on the fact that it would give you proper information. And now you got to battle all these fucking ads. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, pay and don't get the ads. That's all you got to do. It's simple. It's like, fuck you. So anyway, moving on, we got Farid Basharat versus John Garza. And that one went to a unanimous decision, with Basharat continuing to be undefeated at 16-0 with the win over Garza. And yeah, he gets a unanimous decision win there. Basharat, you know, technical, he was being tactical, and that's always a good thing. He managed his distance in a good way and mixed in some takedowns at the right times and just pretty much shut down Garza's offense and was able to get a clear victory, which, you know, I don't know how much that puts him up on the ladder of, you know, climbing, but it gives him a win, and a good win at that. This was Garza stepping in on short notice because Ethan Ewing had an injury and had to step out, so it would have been a better win against Ethan Ewing, but Garza makes his UFC debut and loses in a last-minute replacement fight against Farid Basharat. You know, but Basharat looked good, so I don't know how much it really does for him, but he continues to be undefeated. Next up, we have Damian Piñas versus Cesar Almeida. Zach Logan Paul Reese got smoked. Did you ever have satellite back? No, I never had satellite. I always just did cable. Ewing would have took for I wanted John Garza to win. Yeah. Black box anyone? Yeah. I dealt with that for a little while. That was you know, that became a pain in the ass too. They still kind of do, you know, they do those the boxes still. I've seen them all over TikTok, which is weird, but Farid looks like the best fighter for the first round, and then just becomes a Joe Blow in the last 2 rounds. Yeah, that's gonna, you know, his O is gonna go away real quick if he continues to fight like that. So that's a good point there. Did you have TiVo back then? I didn't personally have it, but as soon as the cable company started doing DVRs, I definitely had that. So yeah. All right, Damian Piñas versus Cesar Almeida. We had Piñas getting the KO with the straight right, knocking out Cesar Almeida in the first round. As you can see with that big right hand landing on the chin. Piñas is he's impressive, man. He's an impressive fighter for sure. And like Junior was saying earlier, he's definitely become one of those guys. He's 10-1 now, and this moves him to 2-0 in the UFC. He got a TKO win in the first round as well over Wes Schultz, and a TKO win in the first round in the Contender Series to get to the UFC over Vitor Costa. So yeah, he's doing big things. He's only got 1 loss in his career, and that was a disqualification loss. So, you know, nothing crazy. He hasn't really been stopped, and yeah, he's looking to continue to climb the ladder and do well in the UFC. How would you record something back then for later? Curious. I mean, when we got DVRs, you could record on the DVR because it started as a DVR in the box, and then it went to cloud, you know, DVR shit. Other than that, though, a VCR if you had it, and a blank tape, and you could record shit that way. But that was way more difficult. Basically, Damian is 11-0. Yeah, pretty much. Next up, unfortunate for Tracy Cortez, Wang Kong got the win over Tracy and pretty much just beat her up, man. It was kind of a bad fight for Tracy. Unanimous decision win for Kong, but yeah, it's pretty much probably her biggest win of her career. Her boxing just looked good, man. She was able to put together combinations. You know, Tracy was getting some in here and there as well, but Kong was just dominant, and, you know, she had really fast counters, excellent takedown defense at times, and her output was just tough and was, you know, overcoming Cortez. Those leg kicks were fucking disgusting, bro. Old school VCR recording, yup. Definitely did that. I recorded on cassette tapes from the radio as well. So yeah, I'm definitely that old. Would you go to bars for UFCs back then? I know you said you had super deep fight parties. No, I always ordered them. From the time that I became a fan, I was watching fights at home, buying them. Very few times would I go anywhere else unless somebody else wanted to buy it. I went to a bar once or twice maybe, but I never really did too much. Wank on could have finished Cortez, but was content with decision coasting. Yeah, quite the gift. Kane gave Tracy at face-offs fake eyelashes. Yeah, that was funny, man. That was funny. Tracy didn't seem too worried about it, but yeah, because Tracy got her fake eyelash punched off her face by Rose Namajunas. Kong is one of those girls. She's a different, unique person. So I don't know. It's fucking weird. But she can definitely fight, man. She can definitely fight, and she is 10-1 as well. With that win, she extends to 5-1 in the UFC, and that puts her on a 4-fight win streak with all decision wins. So yeah, she kind of is one of those decision coasters, like Junior said. But does Tracy get cut now? Oh, definitely. Tracy does not get cut. No, not at all. She's too popular for one, and she has not. She's not really gone down the drain. You know what I mean? It's 2 losses in a row, and her first loss was against Erin Blanchfield, who they're not going to hold that against her. Yeah, I get it. She's 1-3 in her last 4, but her losses are to Rose Namajunas, Erin Blanchfield, and now Wang Kong, whatever you want to call her. So, no, she does not get cut for sure. She's too popular, and she's one of the hottest female fighters, and they're not going to cut her. If she can fight and she's good looking, the UFC takes advantage of that shit for sure. I think she should go down to 115. I don't know that she can make it, man. Remember, she had the issues with weight cutting before. She cut her hair off and shit. I don't think she can make 115. Wang seems like Sue can finish these fights, but doesn't. Like she can finish these fights, but doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she just maybe she's scared of getting caught, and so she just takes the easy route of hey, I'm dominating, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go with what works. Man, they cut Van Zandt, and she was pretty damn. Yeah, but Paige, that was a different thing, man. I don't think Cortez is on that level yet. Paige was very inconsistent, and she had a lot of injury problems with that forearm. Remember, she was out for a long time. She broke that same arm twice. So yeah, I think that was a lot of the problem. And I think Paige actually wanted to, probably showed interest in getting out. So I think that's why they did her like that. So I don't think Cortez is going anywhere yet, for sure. She did just change camps, but I'm sure that's going to feed into the haters out there saying that she even changed camps and still got beat. But did you like Nico back then? No. Are you talking about the chick that was a champ for a minute and got stripped? Montano, yeah. I didn't like Nico Montano, to be honest with you. Something about her rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't mean that in a weird way. I had a bad feeling about her. I felt like she could be a great fighter, but she didn't. Something seemed off, and I was right, because yeah, she never got back in there and defended her title, and she got stripped and went away. So yeah, she seemed to be difficult to work with, or there was always something going on with her. So yeah, Nico, yeah, unfortunately, I think she had potential, but too many outside problems, I guess, or too many mental issues. I'm not sure. Mental issues as in not able to get in there and fight. So did Nico just retire after getting stripped? I have no idea. Actually. I never even thought about it after. She was really a blip on the radar because she won the title and then just had to give it up because she just couldn't get in the cage. So it's a good question, though. I might have to look that up because I forgot about her. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it's true. Let's move on. We got Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka, and holy shit, Luke Riley with the KO here, man. He fucking definitely put the lights out on Kai Kamaka. And I get it that people he was outstanding, basically. I mean, that's what it seemed like. I get that people were saying probably could have let it go a little bit, and but I just feel like nothing would have changed. If anything would have changed, it would have been the fact that he would have actually gone out and gotten knocked out cold instead of just out on his feet. So I think it was a good call. I get it, to be decisive, they could have let it go and let him just go out on his shield. But yeah, Riley was putting the work in on Kamaka, and he wasn't fucking around. So how the hell does Riley come from the same camp as Patty? Their striking are night and day difference in terms of technical skill. Yeah, because not every fighter's the same. I mean, you can come from the same camp, but you just have you have your strengths and weaknesses in different areas. So yeah, I don't think the camp master is a master in striking or grappling in general. I think they work to make the fighters well-rounded. So, but that's just my opinion. Luke Riley stays undefeated, 14-0. He's now 3-0 in the UFC with 2 finishes by TKO in the first round and the second round one, and then he got a decision over Michael Haswell Jr. by unanimous decision. So yeah, he's undefeated and overall undefeated in the UFC. And Kai Kamaka, after being out of the UFC for a while, made a splash coming back in and got the big win over Dakota Hope, and looked good in that fight. But then he drops his second fight to Luke Riley. So he's now 2-3 in the UFC, which is tough, but I'm sure they give him another chance. Riley has the British boxer type swagger. He definitely does. I think they slow roll him. For Riley, probably. I don't think he's not like he does. I mean, he looks really good, but I don't think he's got that like. He doesn't get talked about enough to be like the type to get catapulted. So yeah, it would be good to slow roll him for sure. Next up, we got Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. Riley needs to tighten his leg kicks defense. Need him versus Vallejos. Yeah, actually, he was supposed to fight Vallejos in the Contender Series, it said, but that fight got canceled for some reason. Yeah, Vallejos, they were supposed to fight in the Contender Series and it didn't happen. So anyway, Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez, and you want to talk about somebody that needs to retire, and he probably would have had they gave him the chance. Cody Garbrandt needs to hang it up, man. Yeah, I definitely think Cody's done. 78. He he looks good for a minute, but the flame goes out quickly, man. And as soon as that flame goes out, you don't even see the smoke. He's out so cold quickly. It's just like his chin is gone. He gets hit in the chin and he's done. And I hate to say it because he was, but he was a one-hit wonder, I hate to say. But that fight against Dominic Cruz was like the absolute pinnacle for his career. And then he lost the belt, and he just, sure, he's had some decent fights in between there. He beat what's his face with that nasty knockout. Who am I thinking of? Sun Tzu. And that was like that one win, and he was on a 3-fight losing streak. He beats a Sun Tzu with that crazy right hook that he fucking just put a Sun Tzu out cold. And then he went on a 2-fight losing streak again. Then he wins 2 in a row, and then he goes on a 2-fight losing streak. He wins 1. Excuse me, I had the hiccup. Shit. Ow. He wins 1, and then now he's losing 1. And I guarantee if he gets another fight, he's gonna lose again, because that's just the kind of streak he's on. He's 10-8 in the UFC, which it doesn't seem horrible, but when you look at his fights, it's like, damn. I don't think I've seen a champ fall off as quick as Cody did. Went from champ to unranked in less than 4 years, 4.5 years, maybe you're saying. Yeah, man, it's a tough one. And now he's in the prelims. He's been in the prelims for a minute. Yeah, I think he just needs to hang it up and move on, man, unfortunately. Yeah, Cody definitely has no chin. There's no love and no chin, man. It sucks. I usually don't like to just be so quick to say it, but it's been proven. It's damn near a fact at this point. So it's a tough one, but Yanez gets the win, and that puts him at 7-3 in the UFC. And that gives him a win after coming off a majority draw and then a loss to Daniel Marcos. So back in the win column for Yanez. Cody also seems to have lost confidence in himself. Yeah, he just doesn't look like he just doesn't look present half the time. So he doesn't have that swagger he used to have. I think he knows how bad his chin is. So moving on, we have the UFC debut of Gable Steveson. And you want to talk about something that got buried a little bit. You know, if you watch the fight, it was good. Gable seems a little sloppy, I would say. Maybe a little rushed. I think the bum rush is only going to take him so far. You know what I mean? When he finds a crafty vet that will sidestep some of those big punches and be able to defend the takedowns, which Elisha Ellison was able to defend at least one takedown. So it's just doing this is still better than the 9 to 5 in their perspective. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I get that, but you know, how many fights do you lose by KO and feel like it's good to keep doing it? You know what I mean? I understand where they're coming from, but yeah, he's just one of those guys. I like this fight. It was brutal. It definitely was, but it wasn't technical or tactical. You know what I'm saying? But it was a fun fight for sure. That's how Gable fights, though. He bum rushes, and because he's a big dude and he can rely on getting those takedowns. But I feel like he didn't take down Ellison as easily and quickly as he thought he would. Hearing cracking kicks from heavyweights just feels different. It sure does. And you know, brutal, like balls to the wall fights with heavyweights where you see nothing but crazy striking and big punches and kicks and shit. That's fun. But it's only going to take you so far. So if Gable wants to, you know, do well when he gets to higher level competition, well, you know, he's already doing that by being in the UFC and winning his debut. When he starts getting higher level guys in the heavyweight division, even though there's not many, there's definitely enough in there that are vets and have enough experience under them to be able to counter what Steveson does. And yeah, it might not take him too far. So obviously, he's a great wrestler. Obviously, he's got some great striking as well, and he's learned stuff from John Jones, from what we can tell. And I feel like, you know, he got it done like we thought he would, and he gets the win in the first round. Knees and punches TKO win for Gable Steveson over Elisha Ellison. That puts him at 4-0 in MMA and his first win in the UFC, making his debut. 5'9" at heavyweight. He's the same height as Cormier. Yeah, and Cormier did well. You know what I mean? Gable has all the hype around him, but I don't know if you put him and Cormier together at the same time of each other's, you know, at the same level of each other's careers, and they fight each other. I think Cormier wins. So I just don't know that Steveson has it like Cormier did just yet. But maybe he's just, you know, he just doesn't have as much fight, you know, in him that Cormier had. So he's definitely a prospect, a high level prospect, and he definitely has a lot of fucking potential. So it'll be fun to watch him grow, and I hope that he keeps doing well because he's a fun fighter. So I'm definitely a fan, but I just see some holes there, and I hope that he works on those. Hey, thank you. All is good. Appreciate you. I don't think I even played it yet, so here you go.
What's happening with you, man?
Appreciate you. All is good. So yeah, and then that leads us to the last fight of the night. Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles. The last shot he landed to Elisha unconscious body was super. No doubt, man. No doubt. Hey, the brutal fucking ruthless fashion is sometimes what gets you even further, because if you're willing to do it, then you know, you do what you got to do. Thoughts on we're going to find out Saturday night, man? We fucking found out, right? We found out. Oh my god. Anyway, I was happy to see Robert Whittaker. I mean, sure, he looks different at 205, and he was getting worked in the beginning, man. That first round was scary as fuck. Because I'm a Whittaker fan, it was scary. That first round, it was. Have you ever watched the BKFC card? Not all the way through, but I've seen some fights from the BKFC. It's exciting. It's just not my thing though, man. I don't know. The characters are different there, man. I'll watch a fight here and there, but I haven't really watched an entire card. But yeah, Robert Whittaker, I you know, 205 debut, had some trouble at first with Nikita, but yeah, he weathered the early storm. Krylov, you know, put a lot of pressure on, taking over with kind of the movement in boxing, and he caught Whittaker here and there, but you know, Whitaker was able to step it up in the third round and really fucking and started landing big punches, and he used that power and made for an impressive debut at 205, and immediately, you know, just made a name for himself in the 205 division. So Krylov is another guy whose IQ seems to drop after the first round. Yeah, that's accurate. They didn't even look like they were in the same weight class. Yeah, I know. I'm just happy that Whitaker won, man. I was so sad when I saw it, because I was kind of busy doing something, and people started showing up. The guys started showing up, so I was like, fuck. And I'm trying to watch the fight, and everyone's talking, and then all of a sudden I see Whitaker getting rocked, and I'm like, fuck, no, we can't have this. And then next thing you know, the tides turn, and Whitaker gets the win. I was so happy. So good debut in the 205 division for Robert Whitaker. Glad to see it. I like Krylov, but you know, I'm a big Whitaker fan. So Bobby Knuckles did his damn thing, and I was happy about that. So let's take a look at what the fight wheel had for us. I went 4-1 on my picks. The only one I missed was Sandhagen, and that's unfortunate. He should fight Jan next. Maybe that would be fun, but that's a tough one. But yeah, the only fight I got wrong was Sandhagen. So, and you know, I'm pretty sure everybody was picking Sandhagen in that fight for the most part. But yeah, I picked King Green, Brandon Royval, Paddy Pimblett, Max Holloway all got wins, and the only one I picked wrong was Sandhagen. And the only fight that the fight wheel predicted correctly was the Paddy Pimblett fight. Every other one, the fight wheel got wrong. So I went 4-1. The fight wheel went 1-4. And yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. It's a couple times now that I've done pretty decent compared to the fight wheel predictions, which are totally random, by the way. So it's a randomized fight wheel predictor. I picked Bautista, went 9-12. Damn. Yeah, so I just only picked the main cards. Who knows? Maybe I'll start picking some of the prelims or all the I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it evolves. But for now, I've been beating the ass of that randomized fight wheel. It's been cool. Anyway, yeah, that about does it for UFC 329. Next up, we have UFC Fight Night in Oklahoma City. Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman, which should be a pretty good fight. We'll see how Usman does in that one, if his knees hold up. I know that's always the talk, but it is what it is. Jared Cannonier versus CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez, Tabitha Ricci, Baby Shark, fighting Fatima Klein, Tommy McMillan versus Alberto Montez. So not too bad. DDP is murking Snoozman. Right on 78 Northwest. Thank you. I appreciate you for interacting and supporting as usual. Let's see what the prelims look like. Austin Bashi. Oof. That's a rough prelim card. But you know what? The main card has some pretty good fights on it. So come back on Thursday for the preview of UFC Oklahoma. And yeah, we'll go over all the fights there and any other, you know, news and stuff going on around the combat sports world. So yeah, as far as tonight goes, I appreciate everybody for the support. Thanks for coming in and checking out the show. Appreciate you all as good. And Junior and Johnny and Rain, everybody else that was in the chat, appreciate you guys. Antoine, of course, thanks for the support. Make sure you hit the like button before you get out of here, and if you're watching this later, please hit that like button as well. It helps my channel grow, and it just you know, shows support, so I appreciate you for that. Make sure you come back on Thursday for the preview of next week's fight night. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.